Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Tuesday with us today. I am so thrilled to have Lauren Batterby and Christian Scott here from Life Event Staffing. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Hi.
People ask us all the time on our support line, on our demos, in our conversations, in our chat pod, will you guys come to our event? Will you guys come to our event? And my answer is no. However, I know some people that will, and you are those people. So thank you for joining us and sharing your information with us today, Lauren and Christian.
We are happy to be here.
Hey, I usually ask people to put into the chat pod, and if you just tuned in, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from geographically, as well as what kind of organization you are supporting. I am coming to you from, yes, it is sunny today, sunny South Florida. Lauren and Christian, do you care to share?
Los Angeles, where it is also sunny most of the year.
And Atlanta, where it is hot a lot of the time.
Where it's just hot. Just leave it at that. Hot. Gotcha. So if you are new to Auctria, which I don't know if you are or not, you probably aren't, but Auctria has been around since 2011. Over $500 million have been raised using the Auctria platform, and 50,000 auction and event fundraisers have actually run through there. This is what our agenda looks like today. Obviously, we're meeting our speakers. We're talking about Auctria's experience. They brought along a couple tips, some revenue boosters, and some favorite features. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Lauren and Christian and take it away.
Hi, thank you, Laurie. Hi, everybody. Very nice to be here. Definitely excited to come alongside Auctria and discuss again some of the tips and tricks that we've learned along our journey within our combined industry. I am Lauren Batterby. I'm the CEO and founder of Life Event Staffing, and I am here with my colleague and partner in crime, Christian Scott.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you guys. My job title is partner director, but I'm kind of a catch-all over at Life Event. So my job is to hang out with the lovely Laurie and make sure that we are doing our very best to serve you guys as best as we can. For a lot of you, these galas that you do are how you raise money for your budget for the entire year. And so we take that on personally to make sure that we can do that best we can to make that happen for you and the people that you guys serve.
Right, are you changing sides, Laurie, or am I? Did we decide?
Either way, I can go ahead and advance them. You'll see the arrows on the bottom left, or you can just give me a holler.
Apologies, that was my bad. That was just a miscommunication at the start. All right, we will start off. Christian already started it really, but with a bit about who we are and where we came from. All right, so the background of who we are. Basically, we are a 650 nationwide staffing agency that works purely for nonprofits on auction events. We pretty much don't do anything else. So we're not your standard staffing agency. We have been around since 2021 off the back of the pandemic. Basically, we are all ex-platform staff. Every single one of us internally works for a bidding platform just like Auctria. And we came together with the people that we knew had the knowledge and built out a workforce to be able to now use our skill set, which is basically on-site staffing. We are able to help you complete your evening from start to finish in regards to anything to do with your auction and fundraising aspects. As it says on the lovely slide, we can boast that we have done over 1,500 events globally since our launch and across the US and Canada. We have fully insured staff, and we partner with multiple different platforms, including Auctria, in order to be able to deliver the tech skills needed to deliver your event when on site. All right, I am going to hand over to Christian because she is our partners director and again works directly with Auctria in regards to the partnership that we have and also the training of our staff on the platform. So I really want her to take her expertise forward with this one.
One of the questions we always get asked is, so when the staff comes, will they know how to use Auctria? As Lauren said, we are not a general staffing company. Literally all we do is nonprofit fundraising. So you guys are our only clients. So what we do, we have training from Auctria. The lovely Lori has already done one with our staff for this season, which we do regularly. Every time the updates come out, we make sure that it happens. I do an internal staff training with all of our staff every time there's a new Auctria. For one of my jobs is for new platforms. When we signed Auctria, I actually went on site myself to make sure that we were fully ready to go for you guys. Anything that goes well, maybe doesn't we wanted to make sure that we had done that ourselves so that when we bring you in, we can give you everything that we know from the years of expertise that we've done this. So that we're always making sure to serve you best and to make sure that our staff is fully prepared for any and everything that comes your way. You guys are well aware that these are live events. Anything and everything can happen. And so we always want to make sure that we are prepared for that for you guys so that your job on the night is your guests and not to be dealing with the platform itself. We're happy to take over. I always tell our clients, we will take as much or as little of that off your plate as you like. As much being honestly, a lot of times for our event managers, they'll have a meeting with them when they arrive on site and they go, all right, see you later. And then we don't see you again until checkout, which allows you to be able to talk to your guests, give your staff a break. They've been planning this event for months. And for some of you, your events are on a weekday, so they still got to work tomorrow. So allow them to have that space so that they are ready to serve your clients and let us take what we can off your plates.
Thank you. I skipped you to tip 1 in case you started talking about tip 3 before we'd actually done tip 1.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I always get myself in trouble for this.
Okay, we've put our heads together and come up with some combined tips that, again, we get asked so many questions. We almost end up, our first calls can be consulting calls with our client, even though that's not necessarily what we offer. But again, within our partnerships, we point you in the right direction, or at least have the knowledge and experience from having been on site so many times to be able to rein it all in for you, I suppose. But I think one of the key things that, not necessarily that we are asked, I think it mostly gets forgotten, how key it is to have a steady registration. Okay, it's as your guests arrive, it is so important to make sure that it is set up this way. And on the back end of this tip is paddles. Because again, it is a huge part of your registration and so often can go wrong with just a little pre-planning. This can definitely save from disasters on the night, and it really does set your event up for success. So now I'm going to hand over to Christian to talk about what those tips actually are.
I actually just got an email this morning from a client that has an event this weekend. It was like, were we supposed to get bid paddles? So truth, it does happen all the time. We typically recommend for your check-in desk to have one check-in person per 70 guests. If you have less than 500 guests, if you're looking at about 500 to 600, you're going to want to have one per 60. And if you're going to have more than about 1,000, you're going to want to go one per 50. This usually helps that check-in flow so that you don't end up with lines. I will say, a line is not the worst thing that can happen. A long line is the problem. So we want to make sure that we keep that smooth. One of my little pro tips that I usually recommend for an organization is have a waiter with a couple glasses of wine on the on their tray right at the front. You put alcohol in their hands as soon as they walk in the door. They don't care what happens from here on out, and that will keep your check-in nice and smooth. Those bid paddles are two things that you want are especially if you are looking at about a 400 or 500 plus event. Um, Bid paddles are going to make your lives a lot easier. They're going to help your auctioneer out a ton. You just want to plan for how we're going to assign those. So we're going pre-assigned. That means you're going to need a couple extra volunteers at check-in to make sure that we can grab that. So when guest Judy Smith comes up and she says, our staff gets ready to check them in, I can turn around to a volunteer behind me and go, bidder number 134, you're going to have all those bid paddles in consecutive order. Please make them all 3 digits. Your auctioneer will love you. Turn around and go 134. Awesome. That volunteer grabs that for me and I can hand it off with their credit card as they walk away. That also helps you guys on the back end if I hand their credit card and their bid paddle to them at the same time. So I go, this is your bid paddle for today. It's attached to your credit card. So you'll be ready for the rest of the event. That way they know not to put it down. They know to use that one and they won't share it. It also will help you guys a lot if you're using like a wine pool, raffle tickets, heads or tails, anything like that. Because for the rest of the day, they can just go 134, 134. So every station that has I saw a school in here, if you guys have a cakewalk, if they're buying tickets to ride on a ride, all that kind of stuff, they can just go 134 and be able to purchase things for the rest of the day.
I think it's also important to mention as well, we highlighted in the last slide the why it's so important, and you would be surprised at how many volunteers don't really understand what the concept of what a paddle is. It's just something you throw in the air to get their attention. No, as Christian said, it's attached to the credit card. So just again, making sure you've got the correct people in place on your registration desk as well, that know the background of what they're doing, that have that knowledge to then be able to put that into the software to make sure there are no hiccups at the end. If you're throwing up a paddle in a $10,000 donation and that paddle is not attached to anyone's name, that's $10,000 lost completely, and no one wants to see that happen when we're on site. And also no one wants to put that pressure on the poor volunteer that didn't realize in the first place that they were even making a mistake. So again, just to rein in to say, having staff that know what they're doing and experience when on site, that is where you see your return on investment. All right, again, that leads me into stick with what you know. Your volunteers have the heart of your organization. They really do. And they should be the ones at the front selling it for you. You know, they probably have personal stories relating back to the organization as well. They should be the one greeting people at the door. Maybe they know some of the donors of the silent auction items. Or some of the key speakers that are there that night. They're the ones that should be mingling with the crowd, making sure that they really are the voice of the organization. Let the technology types work the platform and the registration, put them in their place where they're doing what they know best. And Christian touched on it earlier. Your own staff should be out there selling. They should be enjoying the event they put together, not running around like headless chickens just because they don't know how to work the technology or there was a slight glitch. So I'm pretty sure Christian has some stories. I'm sure you could write a book of memoirs.
Oh gosh,
to be honest, on this one.
I have had events where we were looking for volunteers and found them at the bar. But I will say, I do love the do what you're good at. Because what happens is if you put too many tasks on a person, And we all know this, even outside of events. If one person's trying to do too many things at one time, something's not going to get done well. And that kind of is what happens when we're trying to put too much stuff on a volunteer or staff member, because they are trying to make sure that they get your staff known. They're always trying to make sure the credit cards are entered. They're trying to make sure that the volunteers are in place. They're trying to make sure those bid paddles, and which means some things just not going to get done. That's just a matter of being human. So we want to make sure that we're putting everybody in place so that so that everyone's doing what they're good at, so nothing gets dropped. Even inside of our organization, every single one of our events, we send an event manager. That event manager is what we call client facing. So they're your person that we're going to introduce you to them about 10, 14 days out from your event, for you guys to have a call in advance to go, all right, here's what's happening. There's going to be a VIP, there's going to be a raffle ticket, all the things. And then they're your person to go to on a night for like sending text messages. The auction's going to change times. Such and such showed up at the event with a live auction item. So we need to add an item. That's your person. So that's their job. Then we send support staff. They're our guest facing. They are the ones that are going to be on site going at check-in with your staff. With your guests. They're going to be on the floor helping sure that the raffle tickets get sold. That's their job, so that no one's getting overwhelmed with all of the things that happen on the night. Everybody has their place, so that those volunteers do have an opportunity to be able to go, hey, you were here last year, we missed you. That's their job. That should be your staff's job, and it should be the only thing they're responsible to. Because for the most part, people don't donate to organizations. They donate to people. It's why you have someone at your organization speak, because that's who they're donating to. They trust you as people to take care of the money that they're giving you. And so we want to make sure that if they're trusting you, they get to see you. But if you're at the check-in desk for an hour and a half at the top of the event, they never got to meet you. And so it doesn't help you guys in that respect, which is kind of why we started this business, to be able to make sure that you're doing what you do well.
Thank you. All right, our tech support. So this is leading us now towards obviously the technologies that we work with, and how we work so closely with Auctria and their team, and how well they support our staff when on site. We're very aware of everything that's out there and how Auctria support their clients, but what I now want to preach to you all is how well they support our staff as well. Direct line of support if anything happens when on site, any questions that we might not know, anything new that arises, because it still happens all the time. People have new ideas that they want to find, that they want to see if the technology can do or we can adapt to. And we want to make sure that we have that line of support every time to make sure we can support to the best of our ability to. So as Christian said, we do our webinars that Laurie runs for us for training our staff. They offer one-on-ones for them. If they do have any tech questions prior to any event, we have our internal training that we make sure all the staff have completed, no matter what platform. We actually have several levels of training actually, because obviously we have our event managers. Not everybody is equipped to be an event manager. Some people prefer the support. We have plenty of people on our books that just love being on site, love being at the event and helping. But no, they don't quite want the added additional stress of what it does take to be an event manager. We also have auction training. So we do non-specific technology training for all the staff on our books. We have Academy that we have launched, that before you step foot to any event, it gives you all the auction event knowledge that you could possibly need. Took a while to build out, because there are lots of ifs and buts and what ifs and FAQs, but we have combined as much as we can as a team and put together this auction academy. And I think I can boast that there isn't another one out there specifically for on-site. Specifically for on-site staff. So we are very proud to have launched that this year. So again, you would not have a staff member go out on site without any auction experience. We are not brand ambassadors. We are fundraising staff. I think, can I hand over to Christian to talk more about the technology with Auctria and how well it's used on site?
Yes, I would love to echo. Auctria is one of my favorites when it comes to on-site support, because as soon as a question comes up, I go, solve this, and they're on top of it immediately, which I absolutely love. Which is, our hearts love it, but we also know we love having that extra Auctria support from them on site at events, is because, as you guys know, sometimes multiple things come up at a time. So they've been there to be able to help us go, hey, we're going to handle this one. You guys got this one. And so that your event goes super, super smooth. So thank you to you guys for that. Our staff loves you for it.
Yeah.
Also, just one of the things Auctria has done, which we appreciate, is they've been able to, which I might be skipping ahead a little bit, I'm so sorry. They've made it easy for us to always know what's up to date. Anytime anything changes from them, we know immediately, which is so great for you guys. Sometimes things happen, it's like, we have an event tonight, we know immediately. And so we're able to always able to make sure we're up to date for you. And I'm also just echo Lori, because I know we drive her crazy, but she might be one of the most organized people I've ever known. She's sweet about it.
Yeah, you are. Thank you, Laurie. You and the team are a pleasure to work with. You really are. And a lot of people are within our industry, which I'm so pleased to say. That's why, generally, we have such a happy team. Everybody, we're all working towards a good cause, right? But we all understand things can get stressful when on site. So knowing that even if you do know how to complete that particular task, when you've got 4 different things to be doing all at once and you are one person, I try to explain that to people as well. Like, why would you need the extra support if you are trained there? Like, we're one person. Do you want to pay for an additional event manager? Would you be able to handle 4 tasks in the space of 5 short minutes? Everybody needs that additional support, and internally we also offer that as well. Again, each of us is trained across multiple different platforms and able to show this technology, and then better equipped our on-site staff for when they're there. So yeah, tech with heart. I thought the image was quite appropriate with this one. So thank you, Laurie. I'll move us on. All right, so we did touch on it earlier. So I truly believe, or we at Life Event Staffing, that paying professionals for your event is where you really do see your return on investment. And I'm not just referring to on-site staff. As you can see, I put that at the bottom of the list. I went down in order of what I think people think when it comes to putting together their event. The silent auction platform, maybe items and auctioneer are sort of interchangeable, because sometimes I think that's a last minute, the consignment items, but your auctioneer, you really do get what you pay for. They are worth their weight in gold. I can't give a shout out enough to our auctioneers, because unfortunately, Joe, who tells a few jokes from table 10, he's actually not an auctioneer. He may have the charisma, he may be able to get your crowd going for you, but can he remember his numbers? No, they've been to school, they've trained for this. Like, you really are paying for again these expertise. They could double your revenue. The last webinar I did with one of our auctioneers, he said Compare it to your band, okay? And everybody loves a good band, an event, right? But that's the after party, and you've gone and spent a minimum of 2,000 to 3,000 on that. How many donations did they bring you back in? They made the night memorable and entertaining. Like, there's plenty of benefits. I'm not saying don't book your band, right? Please, but in getting what you pay for, your auctioneer can double their worth in an evening. And the same with staff. If the auctioneers have got that staff to support them, no bid is missed within that room. No $10,000 paddle goes astray. No live auction winner is missed. And everything gets put into that system. And all cards are charged, and everything works to such a streamlined process. And the outcome is not just overall funds, but it's a happy donor. They're going to attend again next year because you gave them a great experience when they were on site. So I've only named a couple here. I'm sure there are far more components to include, but just for what we're here talking about and the people that we partner with, again, consignment items. Everyone thinks that you do have to pay to bring these good items in. But again, if you are doubling your revenue on that item because it was a spectacular item and you sent someone on safari, they had a fantastic time, that high roller comes back, tells everybody else what a fantastic time that they had. Boom, the safari's in again, and you sell it 3 times the next year around. But you sell it 3 times if you've got a good auctioneer and the staff who's on site make sure they collect all the details 3 times. So again, everything has got this constant knock-on effect. So whether that's the heading revenue booster that we were going for, but I really do think it's this hugely combined effort that's in there. And of course, the features within your silent auction platform, there are plenty out there. You want to make sure that platform works specifically for you. And again, that is what Laurie and the team do. Make sure you know the ins and outs of the platform and what's going to work from you, and that pre-event advice in order to be able to use it to its full potential. Throw in a raffle item. It's easy to do. Use all the features that it has got, because I can't tell you how many times we've turned up on site to non-Auctria events and they're like, oh, we didn't know it could do that. I'm like, that's such a shame. You paid for that. You can do all these kinds of fun fundraising games and all kinds of things that can be included within these softwares. So just using what you have to its full potential, and you do get what you pay for and your return on investment. I know, Christian, this was my slide, but you're more than welcome to contribute to this one if you would like.
I would echo everything she said, and I would also say Auctria has done a really great job with launch, because we do very often go on sites, and people go, "Wait, I could have done that. I could have done that." I'm like, "Yeah." So at that point, now our staff is like scrambling to make it happen, in the hour before your guest arrives. But the launch folks have these conversations with you and walk through these events and go, great, what are you doing here? How does this happen? We're going to make this happen so that you guys are prepared for that. One of the things Lauren is probably tired of hearing me say, but I say it to every person that we partner with, is it's my job to deal with problems. That's why I'm here. That's why you're hiring us. And on any given day, anything can happen. That's what we do. But the best way to be able to handle that is, no matter what happens, we just need to make a plan for it. We can handle it. We just need a plan. And the more that is planned for and ahead of time, the better off we are on the day. And so launch is awesome for that. That's all I got.
Thank you. Can I just say, being fair of repeating myself, but to say once again, the plan. If we know the silent auction technology, if we know who the auctioneer is, we all have trust in each other to be able to come together on the night. Again, that is what we're out to do here. We all make each other's lives easier. And again, it all leads to the same successful event on that evening. And there are far more nonprofits out there than there are our companies, right? So we come together often, and sometimes without even realizing. And we're like, "Hi, okay, oh, we saw you last week. Oh, great to see you again. You were here, especially with auctioneers." And I know the relief that we feel. Again, we don't get a surprise with our platform. We always know in advance who we're working with, obviously. But one thing we do pride ourselves on as well, if we are approached with a platform that we do not know, we don't do it unless we have a partnership. We're not there just to wing it. You know, that the training and the planning is in place, and we do communicate between our partners as well to make sure that we do all have our bases covered when it comes to, again, to our clients as we all work together. Okay, slides. Lovely. All right, Christian, this is yours. I think you've touched on a few. Go on.
Yeah, linking guests to check-in is one of my favorites. Being able to, I have had at an event where a husband and wife, not so thrilled, because they found out at checkout they had been fighting hard for an item, only to find out they were actually bidding against each other all night. So now they're mad and they don't want to pay you, because they're like, I wouldn't have spent this much money because it was my spouse. And so issues of being able to keep those type of issues down is one of the things that Auctria has done, that I can say a lot of platforms have not caught up to yet. And it also helps when it's like a sponsor table, because that means I live in Los Angeles and we do a lot of big celeb events, and so the publicist can put all his celebrities on one ticket. So it just makes life a lot easier. And to be able to do that for you guys, for being able to chase up things afterwards. If you're only having to deal with one person instead of 5, it will alleviate your staff a lot. And it also just makes the event go a lot smoother. Just because they're starting together as a family. The fact that bidders, everything is one place, especially at check-in. If I can do everything in one spot, we can get your guests through a lot faster. One of the tips that Lauren just talked about was the fact that, given most of our events, the fundraising part of the fundraiser is the last thing that gets planned for. There's usually the venue, the food, the guest list, and all those things, but the actual fundraising part is usually the last bit. So most of your guests are going to remember whether the food tastes good, if the bar was open, and how fast they were able to get through check-in. That's the stuff they're going to walk away with. And whether the auctioneer was funny. So those are the things that they're going to walk away and talk about. So those are the things that matter to us the most. And so making sure that Auctria has it set up in a very good way to be able to get through check-in very, very quickly, because we want them in and looking at your silent auction items. We want them in and talking to your staff members going, oh, did you know we have this new thing this fall? Yep, you should totally donate toward that. We want them in talking to your guests that were here last year, who are going to go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You're going to love this event. We also want them talking to the people who benefit from your organization, from kids who've been through there, from parents who are benefiting from it. Those people, we want them to be able to talk to them. We don't want them standing in a check-in line. So we want to get them through as fast as humanly possible. Paper and mobile bidding simultaneously. Usually when we on our side of the world hear these words, we go, no. But when Auctria has actually done it well, and the fact that it is 2 separate spaces, 2 section categories, so that these can do. Sometimes it's really fun to have like a super silent auction that's paper while the mobile bidding is going on. Sometimes you want to do the reverse. I recently did an Auctria event that was at this gorgeous venue up on a mountaintop, but it just meant that most people didn't have cell phone reception. So you have an option to be able to still have your event going on, still make it super easy for you guys to be able to check all these items out, but gives your guests paper options so that they can still do their job while it makes it easy for you.
And I just want to clarify, you can't do the exact same items on paper as mobile bidding. There's no way a piece of paper talks to a computer.
Yes.
You're talking about specific items would be silent, specific items would be mobile. I just want to.
No, yes, please, thank you. Yes. Okay. I want to make sure that is super clear. Thank you. Yes. And then the ability to import from a Google Sheet. One, I just think that makes your lives easier as an organization, because as items are coming in, things are updating. All of your staff anywhere can be using that Google Sheet. And then you can straight up import that straight into Auctria. It makes our lives easier on site, but honestly, that feature I think is more for you than anything, just to the ease of use that Auctria gives you as you're setting up your events.
Brilliant. And thank you, Christian. We've come to the end of our slides, but Laurie, can I put you on the spot? Can we ask you questions?
Absolutely.
How many countries is Auctria active in?
You are putting me on the spot. I don't know. It's quite large. I will tell you that about 80%, 85% of the business is US based, probably another 10 to 12% is in Canada. And then after that, it's scattered, a couple percent everywhere. We've got plenty of groups from the Caribbean, from Mexico, from Australia, from New Zealand, as well as England and the UK at large. So there's little sprinkles all over the place, wherever there's English-speaking individuals. So do you want to take a trip around the world, Lauren, Christian?
Never have.
I want to see where else we can open up. I know where else.
Oh, so there's a strategy behind it.
Sorry, no, honestly, it was just intrigue. I knew it was international, but I just wanted to hear the list, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It was like general interest. And leading on to my next question, so you are multi-currency. That's not just US dollar?
Correct. Anything
it's
where
fantastic.
Anything that Stripe handles, and Stripe has like 100 plus currencies in there. So all you're doing is running everything through your Stripe account. So if Stripe can do it, we can do it for sure.
It's fantastic. And I just really want to point out that how many platforms don't do that. Really don't. There aren't many that do fully international and are able to support that as well. So congratulations.
Absolutely. That's why it's such a pleasure chatting with the life event folks, because I am, Auctria is hyper-focused on auction event fundraisings, and I'm even more hyper-focused just on Auctria. So it's so nice to see what others are doing. I brought along a little bit of contact information. If you're new to Auctria, this is our slide that we bring along. If you're not, maybe you didn't pay attention to our auction team talk group. I'm going to drop a link in here. If you right click on it, it'll open up in a new window. But our Facebook group, Auction Team Talk, is the nicest page on Facebook. All sorts of people, auctioneers, event planners, life event is on there also. People are asking questions. There was just a whole conversation about email, taglines, and things along those lines, and people are chiming in. We post regularly to Facebook and Twitter. On Pinterest, we have over 500 pins that go directly to donation request pages. And you can always email us, hello@auctria.com. And like Christian mentioned, our Auctria Launch and Auctria Assist team is there if you want some assisted setup. And then this is the contact information for you guys over at Life Event. You're active on Facebook and Instagram, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that it is. You can also, I was going to add both of our emails on there as well, but I feel like I was overloading. But we are just Lauren at Life Event Staffing and Christian at Life Event Staffing. So we are very easy to find if you want to come to either of us directly as well. Again, we are always happy to answer any questions, even if you're not necessarily using our staff. But if we can help in any way with any of the topics that we have discussed, 3 tips is hard to narrow it down. I think we have several more, Laurie, so ready for your next Tuesday tips. We would love to. I think one of the points we would love to go more into how we can assist auctioneers. And again, we sort of touched on how important auctioneering is, having a good auctioneer, but we would love to go further into that and our services in regard to bid spotting as well. So because silent auction, again, we all come back together. The numbers that are still being input into the technology, it's not just the silent auction numbers. Usually, like, everyone's putting in those live auction numbers and the donations, and it's the auctioneer that definitely lends to those overall amounts raised, and then the data being collected. So we've got a whole new realm we can go into there when we're next welcome.
I love that. My webinar door is always open for you ladies, that's for sure. Hey, I put into the chat a couple things. I put our auction team talk page. I see you dropped in your email. We also have a life event landing page on the Auctria side where you can grab more information about life event staffing. I have a couple questions for you guys. People ask us, how do you keep your cool? I know this can be a pressure cooker for people that are running their auctions and events. And I think it's because they are in the thick of it, and you guys being, at arm's length and being professional, organizers here and professional staff. How do you keep all these moving parts organized?
I'll jump in here. This is kind of my domain. I was just training new staff this week, actually. And this is a conversation topic we always have. And one of the things I would say to them is keep the main thing the main thing. So our event that I was at this weekend, where an auctioneer actually came and gave me a hug, which is why I was laughing when you were talking about auctioneers, because that particular event was 1,600 guests. There were supposed to be buses, shuttles that were bringing the guests that were going to arrive in waves. 1,000 people showed up at one time. All the buses, and so you just had an onslaught of humans that just came running at us. But we were also there because they were supporting an organization called 10,000 Degrees, which is, the goal is to get 10,000 people through college. That's our focus. That is why we're here. The 1,000 people in front of you look terrifying, but the kids that get to go to school is why we're here.
Beautiful.
And so being able to keep that in the forefront of your mind, so that every single human being, especially for the ones who went to the bar first and then came to talk to you, they're already sloshed. That's our goal, to keep that forefront throughout the night.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from those of you that are in our audience? Happy to answer anything. And if not, we're happy to close out early and give you back the rest of your day. I'll give you a chance to go ahead and type it in. I see a couple dots coming in, and I'll never close anything until we answer all of the questions. I see it typing, beep, beep, beep. I don't want to hang up. Elizabeth says, do you ever encounter guests who are reluctant to register the credit card at check-in? And I'm going to put an addendum to that. How do you handle it?
Always. The typical to go for that for our staff is just to remind them the credit card at check-in is an ease of use for you guys as an organization and for that person. So we're good. This is just to hold the spot for you. We're not going to charge it. There are no hold fees. It just gives you a place to play so that you have the ability to make a silent auction bid. If you choose not to, it's okay. If you don't want to bid, you can always come back and add it later. We're here all night. But also it will just make the organization's life easier and yours. So when we get to check out, you can just go home.
Yeah, you never want to pressure the people. They want to leave it, they leave it. If they don't, okay too. Enjoy your evening. Next person, slide on. And that's the good part about having event staff, I think, at the check-in table than somebody from the organization, because they may transfer that to, oh my God, that person is the receptionist and she did it. You know, it separates it and gives it arm length. And that way it's, you know, it's the staffing company that's managing it, or it's life event staffing, and it's not your own staff that's, you know, asking or telling somebody to put their credit card on file, and then they internalize that. Same thing with auctioneers. Auctioneers are so good at their paddle raises and asking people to raise. If you have, like you said, Joe from table 10, then they're transferring that to Joe from table 10, who they know, who they bump into at the drugstore or at the grocery store and things like that. I love having the professionals as that buffer zone, because you guys are good at it and they're good at it also.
I will
to
say
add
also,
to it as well. Sorry, Christian, go on.
no, I will say also, the fewer words you use when asking for money at that point will make your lives a lot easier, because that's kind of where volunteers have issues with asking for credit cards, because they want to explain it. And they're like, no, but we're going to use it. And so then now it makes the guest uncomfortable, because they're like, if she feels like she needs to work so hard, then there's something wrong. So that's another reason where having staff is helpful, just for making it a succinct request.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Don't apologize for asking to put the credit card on file. It's how you say it. Which card would you like to put on file for tonight's fundraising? Oh, they've gone, this one. The question why? And if they asked why, then we're equipped to answer correctly. And also, all our staff, like I said, are fully insured. So there's nothing fraudulent happening here. The equipment that's being used as well, if it's brought from life event staffing with the partner that we use, is all fully encrypted. The swipers that are being used, you know, so our staff know they are safe. No data is being collected here. And as we know, the platform Auctria we're using is using Stripe anyway, so it's all fully encoded as it should be. So it's not going anywhere. There's nothing fraudulent happening here. Like, don't panic. We're all professionals.
Right. Question comes in from Jennifer. Our guests who buy tickets register ahead for the auction. Guests who do not buy tickets do not register ahead. Tips on that one.
Friends of friends who invite friends are my all-time favorite at any event. And also just getting people to pay attention, because most people won't read the emails that you send until they arrive, like 5 minutes beforehand. Little tip I like to throw out is, you guys will typically have it some item. The hotel will give you a Jennifer's like, yes. The hotel will give you one night that they donated to you. Some item that you have that doesn't quite work as a silent auction item on its own, but you still have it to use. Send out an email for everyone who is fully registered by noon on the day of, gets put into a raffle for that item. That will get people to actually do it, because they want to win something. And then also, that's our kind of, at the end of the day, that's kind of our team's job, is to be prepared for that kind of stuff. Because on any of, short of churches and schools, most organizations, if you get 30% ahead of time, you're winning. So, which is why we usually do that 1 to 70-ish ratio, because we just know that that's just going to be a thing.
That's a great tip. I know a few of our auctioneers, they'll do kickoffs, live streams, and things like that to encourage registration, and they'll also do a raffle or some sort of chance to win type thing to grab that information. DeWitt Whitting asked, how do we find auctioneers? I think we've used members of our church. I put in there a link to our Auctria partners page. This is just a small sampling of auctioneers that work with Auctria. Those are the ones that I've chatted with, and we've put up onto our partners page. So that's a small sampling. Definitely the benefit auction specialists are specialized in running event auctions. So you don't want the cattle and the real estate guy. You want to have the one that has that, doesn't have that, million minute a mile chatter that's spewing at your audience. You want a nice calm chatter and testimonials and why are you donating. I'm sure you guys experience that a lot too when you're out there at the events. Do you want to chat about that for a minute?
I will happily chime in with that one. And I've just added our partners
Awesome.
page as well.
Thanks.
Ask your platform, go to different events, ask people within the industry. They can name a few names. Every auctioneer has got a YouTube or some live footage on their website of them in action. They've got statistics as well. It's a free consultation they'll give you as well. Speak to them directly. Ask them the type of events that they've done in the past. Does that suit your needs? What are they used to doing? What type of entertainer are they? Do you think they will address your crowd in the right way? You have to shop around. Like, it's not an easy task, I will say, trying to find the correct auctioneer. But if you can just ask questions. Do you know what? I built a business asking stupid questions. If you don't know, ask around and someone will point you in the right direction. We all stay in our lanes. Right, so let us refer you to then the next person that knows, and then the next, and I promise you will find the well-suited auctioneer for your event, because they're all so different as well. So just because they come highly recommended from a high-end New York event doesn't mean they're going to do particularly well at a Kentucky church. I'm sorry, I'm picking things out of the air. It's completely different. It's completely different. And then locally, ask around. We talk about bringing this industry together. One nonprofit shouldn't be the competitor of the next one down the street. Go to each other's events, support each other, see how they are doing it, combine the efforts. That's exactly what Auction Team Talk does. Brings people together. Let's share our advice and knowledge instead of hiding it away, because somebody else is going to do it anyway. We may as well all be successful together. So answer the question, ask questions, and you will find. We went to the Charleston National Benefit Auctioneers Summit just 2 weeks ago, and I met 80 auctioneers from across the US, and this is just a minuscule amount of how many are actually out there. All such wonderful people, all so different. You've got your cowboys, you've got your Chicago towny type guys, don't know how to quite describe that, but like the real charisma. And then you've got your New York, you've got your comedians, all different types out there, and they all managed to come together in one room without competing against each other. They all know they're completely different, and if they don't feel like they are suited to your event, they will refer to the next man in line. They really will. They do this because they're good people. They really are. And there are plenty of auctions out there they could be doing. They could be cars, houses, cattle, and they don't. They're benefit auctioneers, and they're specially trained as benefit auctioneers as well. So let them help you and let them consult. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. And the sooner you draw in a life event or an auctioneer or the pros, your event planners, the better off you are. They have this knowledge and they can share it with you in advance so that you can, have your strategy in place and implement it. When you draw people in, last 2 weeks, it's like, it's just a fire hose of information coming at you and you don't have enough time to do anything with it. It doesn't matter, if you contract with them 6 months in advance, it's still pretty much the same price with, all the professionals, but now you have that knowledge. So I appreciate you guys sharing this. It looks like, Jennifer, 2 of our Phoenix area Christian high schools are using the same auctioneer. We're flying her in from Denver Friday and Saturday. I mean, Jennifer, I love that.
That is a pro move right there.
And I think I've seen Jennifer on our auction team talk page. If that's the same Jennifer, I know that she's pretty active on there. And this is the kind of information you can grab off that. I bet you that's her typing. One and the same. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Can we ask who it is? Can we name drop? Who's the auctioneer?
See if she'll share.
I told you, it's all about coming together and sharing our knowledge.
It really is. It really is. It looks like someone's typing in. I don't know if it's Jennifer or somebody else, but I'll let it come in before we close out. We're getting almost to the top of the hour, and I always promise I won't close out. But Halle Bear, she's hard to book, so don't take her for Saturday. Okay, Jennifer, you're gonna have to tell her that we were talking about her on this webinar, and I'll try to reach out, grab her contact information. Maybe she wants to do something with us and be on our partners page too. I'm always looking to expand the knowledge as well as the professionals that are in the industry here. So I think we've answered all the questions. I always wish people bids that soar. I hope you crush your fundraising goals. Christian and Lauren, do you want to have the last word?
Honestly, I just want to thank you for having us. This is an absolute joy.
Yeah, real pleasure. I was nervous at the start, and now I feel like I could carry on talking all afternoon. So thank you for making me feel so comfortable.
Absolutely. Replay and slides will be available. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.